In this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial on how to cut this stylish Queen Anne neckline blouse with a slight basque at the hemline. So to start this pattern, you're going to mark out your basic measurements. Now, you need to get your blouse length, or you're going to mark your shoulder to bust, under bust, waist, and then add 5 inches for your blouse length. Now for the slight basque we have in front, you're going to add an extension. Go ahead to mark your shoulder divided by 2 and add half, because this dress has a sleeve. Now come down by ½ inch because the shoulder is not straight. Mark a basic neckline of 3 inches, place my ruler and I will connect. Now after I'm done connecting, I'm going to find my chest line, and to find your chest line is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. I'll place my ruler and draw a straight line there. Now go ahead to mark your shoulder divided by 2 plus half again. That is what you have on the shoulder. Place it on the chest line, place your ruler and draw out a straight line. Now I'll place my ruler and I'll divide what I have here into 2, come out by ½ inch. Now at this point, I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. So after marking that, I'll go ahead to connect from here to the midpoint at the armhole and to the upper part of my pattern. Now after I'm done connecting, I'm going to go ahead to mark my darts. Now to mark your dart, you're going to start marking from your nipple to nipple divided by 2. Now my nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I have 3.5 inches, which I'll mark starting from the upper part to the lower part of this pattern. So after I'm done connecting, I'll go out to mark out my basic neckline of 3 by 3 inches. Now I'll be using this neckline to serve as a guide when I'm drawing out the neckline of my pattern. Now I'll divide the rest of my shoulder into 2 by folding my tape, and I will mark. From here, I'll place my ruler and I'm going to connect. After marking that, I'll go ahead to mark a dart intake of 1 inch on both sides. Now, if you're plus size, you'll be using 1.5 inches to mark both sides. Now, after marking that, I'll go ahead to place my ruler and I'm going to go ahead to connect. And I'll also go ahead to connect on the other side. Now, after I'm done connecting, I'm going to place my ruler, my tape, come down by 1 inch or ½ inch from this point, then place my curve through and I'll connect. And also connect on the other side of my pattern, right? Now, after I'm done connecting this, the next step I'm going to take is to go ahead to mark where I want this neckline to start. So I'll just go ahead and pick about 2 inches, right? Now you also want to measure from your chest line, or you measure from your shoulder, or you can just use these 2 inches. I'll mark my dart intake of 1 inch on both sides. Now if you're a plus size, you can use 1.5 inches on both sides, or 1 inch here and 2 inches on the other side. I'll go ahead to use my ruler and I'll mark out my pattern all the way to the lower part of this pattern, right? Step, I'll insert my measurements. At the bust, I'll divide my round bust circumference by 4. My bust is 33 divided by 4. I'm going to mark 8.3 inches. Now I'll pick this dart here and replace by the armhole side. Then add my sewing allowance. Now if you don't want to have too much excess by this side at the armhole, you can just go ahead and slightly pick a dart at the over bust of your pattern, right? This is if you don't want to have an excess allowance by the armhole side of your pattern, so that what you have on the chest line area of the back pattern will match with that of the front. Then add your sewing allowance. I'll mark my under bust circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace and add the sewing allowance. Here I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace and add my sewing allowance. Here I'm going to go ahead to mark my hip circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake here, replace and I'll add my sewing allowance. So next, what I'm going to do is to go ahead to place my ruler and I'm going to go ahead to connect all these lines. Now after I'm done connecting, the next step I'll take is to go ahead to outline my pattern to make it more visible for you to see. So here I'm going to mark my bust dart, and to get your bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist in front and your shoulder to waist at the back. My shoulder to waist in front is 17, while my shoulder to waist at the back is 15 and a half. If I take 15 and a half out of 17, I have 1.5, which I marked and connected back to the bust. From this point now, I'll come down by 1 inch or 1.5, and I will now go ahead to connect it all the way up, and after that I'll just connect it to the side this way, creating like a slight asymmetric hemline on that part, and I will connect it. So now if you're not okay with that side, you can always go ahead to readjust your pattern to get what suits you. So I'll just go ahead to draft this out or cut this out later. Now let's work on the neckline. I came down by ½ inch from my chest line. So now this might vary because the distance between my bust and chest line is short. Go ahead to measure what suits you at this point and also connect. So from here I'll connect this point all the way to the armhole, and I'll connect it back to the armhole or chest line area. Now let's work on the yoke. From this neckline you can come out by ½ inch or 1 inch, right, and then connect it down. So after connecting, I just came out a little. I used 2.5 inches on this side, and I'll go ahead to connect it to that 2.5 inches. Now I'll now outline the yoke area. Now I'll go up by 0.3. This is to tighten the yoke. You can as well use 0.5 if you want it to relax very well to avoid having gaping at the yoke. Now blend what you have and make sure it matches your pattern before going ahead to cut out. Now blend this area very well. After that, we are done drafting the front pattern of this dress. Now for the hemline, if you're not okay with what I have here on the pattern, you can go ahead to readjust it a little. So I'll just go ahead and I will cut this out, and after cutting it out, while cutting it out, also remember that you're going to blend the dart by the side of your pattern before cutting out. So I'll also cut out the yoke area of this dress, and this is what we have here. Now just like I said, blend your darts before going ahead to cut out so that the sides will meet, and you can now go ahead to cut it out and also cut out this side of your pattern. Now after you're done cutting, this is what we have for the front. Moving over to the back pattern, I've gone ahead to mark out the measurement. I added a zipper just in case you want to use a zipper or a lacing. I'll be doing the both. So I marked the shoulder to bust waistline. Now my shoulder to waistline at the back is shorter than that of the front. Now after that, you can add 5 inches for your blouse length, or you can use the blouse length measurements of your choice. Now after I'm done marking, I'll start by marking my dart, which is my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I have 3.5 inches, and I'll mark this, draw out a straight line. After I'm done marking this, I'm going to go ahead to mark ½ inch on both sides for the dart. Now come down by 1 inch from the bust, and I'm going to go ahead to place my ruler to connect, and also connect on the other side. Now after I'm done connecting on both sides of this pattern of the dart, that is, extend the lower part by 4 inches. That is the dart for the lower part. I'll insert my bust circumference divided by 4, add my sewing allowance, mark my waist circumference divided by 4, pick this dart, replace it, and add my sewing allowance. Right now at the blouse length, I'll mark my hip circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance. So note, all my measurement is starting after the zipper line. Please add all your measurements after the zipper line. Now I'm going to go ahead to place my ruler, and I will connect. Here I'll also come in just like we did for the front, and I'll place my ruler here, and connect. So you can decide how your back pattern is. Now I'll come down by 1/2 inch from the chest line and I will connect it down. Now after connecting, this is if you're using a zipper for the back, you'll be including the zipper area of this dress, and I'll go ahead to outline the rest of my pattern. Right now, after I'm done marking that, I'll come up by 0.3 here or 0.5 depending on how fitted or tightened you want the yoke area, and I will mark. Now after marking this, I'll extend this out. Now the next step is to come in by 1/2 inch and I'll extend this up and extend it down. This is to get rid of the zipper bulge on this dress. Now after I'm done marking this, I'm going to go ahead to connect this all the way down. Now after I'm done connecting, I'm going to go ahead to draw out the asymmetric hemline I have for the back. So I'm just doing a freehand sketch for the back. I didn't get to see what is at the back of this dress. Now I'll outline. Now this is your pattern with a zipper. Now if you want to mark out your pattern without a zipper, we'll also be doing that too. So at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please kindly hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, leave your comment at the comment section. So I'll mark out the zipper bulge and I'll cut out my dart. So this is my pattern with the zipper. If you want my pattern, or if you want this pattern without a zipper, go in by 1.5 or 2 inches after the zipper line and go ahead to connect. Now I'll be cutting that area and I'll make a circle to indicate we have a lacing bar at that part. So this is your pattern with a lacing bar at the back.